Welcome to the Chtib Zhang show. It is episode 17. We have quite the episode for you guys today. We are going to be looking at UFC 261. 261. We're going to be looking at the NFL upcoming 2021 NFL draft. And we're going to be looking at the Super League. And of course, the NBA playoffs are on the horizon. So we're going to look at some NBA dark horses, potentially guys, seeds that, don't look as serious as people think, but could do some damage. But as always, first, roll it. Welcome back to the Chtib Zhang show. I'm Chtib Zhang. It is episode 17. Eric, as we do usually for the past few weeks, we cover our fantasy matchups, what happened during that week. In our Super League, $500 reward. Unfortunately, season has come to an end for me. But it continues for you, as you have made it to the finals, and you will be facing the commissioner of that league for the $500. I made it to the second round. I lost to him in a close matchup, I'd fairly say. So, but unfortunate. But in the other league, me and Eric are in another league with some of our buddies, and I did beat him head to head in that. So that's always got to feel good. But feeling confident, Eric?
I'm pretty confident. I like my team. I have a lot of players that are playing a bunch of games, so I'm pretty happy with how it's going. I have Nathan McKinnon dropped a goal today, but Nathan McKinnon.
Yeah.
I like my team for sure.
Well, if you do somehow end up winning, the previous two winners of that league will be me and you. As I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I was a Calder winner, of course, winning Rookie of the Year in that league, winning it all as the first year in the league. Eric, you weren't making the playoffs. This is your first year actually in the playoffs, making it, but you were a dominant team this year, and now you're in your first finals appearance. So hopefully you can come out with a win. If not,
you have any advice for me? Any advice?
Advice.
There's no advice.
I don't know. I mean, the week already started, and you already have your players. I remember when I won, I actually benched Kucherov in the in my league. I think he was playing two games, but Kucherov was my MVP that season. I benched him in the finals because he was only playing twice. Your lineup was already set, so I'd say hopefully my advice would be for you that hopefully you did was that you put players with at least 4 games and you try and stack them up, because in the finals it doesn't matter. It comes down to games played. Exactly. If some of your best players only have 2 games, then you're benching them. And so so at least 3 or 4 games you're looking for. Well, my fantasy season's over, as I said. Yours continues into the finals. We'll give an update next week. And we'll tell you guys if Eric won it or not, or he choked on behalf of the podcast. We'll see. And that will be next episode. But Eric, let's jump into this week's episode with a hot start with UFC 269, where the main event was Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal. Eric, this is the second time they fought. And of course, if people thinking the first one was a fluke, obviously it was not, because Kamaru Usman reinstated why he deserves to be the welterweight champion. Eric, what do you think of UFC 261?
Oh, UFC 261 in general was, I wouldn't say amazing, right? Because there's a lot that happened that was pretty
strange event.
Yeah, but in terms of a card, so much that happened, so many events. If you bought the card, it was definitely worth your money. It was such an event to watch. Obviously, pretty sad news with Chris Weidman, who actually broke his leg, very atrocious.
I'm glad. Let's just get into that. I thought we were going to bring that up after, but you brought it up now. Yeah. Chris Weidman threw a leg kick, and when I first watched the video and people were like, oh my God, look at this leg break or whatever, I was actually looking at the other guy. I had to watch the video twice. Looking at the other guy, and I was like, okay, when's his leg going to snap? Whatever. It seems okay. And I'm like, okay, let me watch it again. The second time I looked at Chris Weidman, and he went in with the leg. Because it's you don't see it as often. The guy who throws the leg is getting his leg broken.
Exactly. Yeah.
So his leg broke, and then he doesn't know it yet.
It breaks, and then he steps on it.
He steps on it. His ankle rolls because he doesn't know it's broken because he's juiced up and all the adrenaline.
Yeah.
And it just, those injuries, man. Like some of the basketball injuries, like Gordon Hayward and stuff. That stuff. Oh my God, goosebumps.
But you know, it's kind of I I don't want to say ironic, but kind of what happened was Anderson Silva
I
threw
heard this. This is someone broke his leg off Chris Weidman, right?
off Chris
Yeah.
Weidman exactly, and so much with that situation because Anderson Silva, the Uriah Hall, who was actually fighting Chris Weidman, is actually Anderson Silva's last fight. So he basically retired
Oh
Anderson
wow.
Silva, and Uriah Hall fought Chris Weidman in their first ever fight in the UFC. They fought each other, which is kind of crazy too. It's just full circle, and it was
Full circle
awesome.
on
Yeah, for
UFC
sure.
269. Well, yeah, Chris Weidman was definitely potentially maybe the main
Mhm.
highlight of that night. But
sure.
let's look into the main card.
Yep.
Uzma versus
Oh
Masvidal.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Uzma wins in the second round to knockout, and he defends the welterweight
Exactly. Yeah.
champion title. He now goes to 19-1, and he has 9 wins via knockout, 1 via submission, and he is on a 18 fight win streak, basically.
Exactly.
So
18
yeah,
fight win streak.
what'd you like about his fight?
So I liked everything. I was watching it. Oh, no, I really wanted Usman to. I like Masvidal a lot, but
Yeah,
I just wanted Usman to win. I want to see that. I want him to fight Kobe Covington. I want that to be a big fight. But Usman, I was stressing the entire time. Even Usman said himself, like that's his first time he came to a fight, kind of nervous.
second round knockout.
Yeah, but still, and Masvidal came in pretty poised, but Usman came. He was wrestling. He had everything going on. He was a little wild with some shots there, but in the end, in the second round, had him. Boom.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw, but there's like a bunch of sweat.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, it wasn't sweat because Usman has long hair, so he dumped water on his head. But when
But yeah, that picture I saw, I thought was all sweat. But as we know, Kamaru Usman, he's a big wrestler when it comes to his game. Loves to wrestle, loves to get on the ground. Not much of a striker. As we saw in this fight, though, he tried to change his striking game. As we saw in the first round, he was trying to utilize it. He was flailing all around, and you just couldn't land one. But then in the second round, he really hit that one. And so Uzma trying to elevate his game and pretty much change it, not just become that wrestler, but become a two-dimensional fighter.
Yeah.
And so, as you said, what's next for him? I'd like to think Colby Covington too. Dana White thinks it's Colby Covington too, and I would love to see that fight. Colby Covington 16-2. He's ranked second in that division, welterweight, and so obviously that should be the fight. But as we know, Kamaru Usman, as he said, he's going to be taking some time off. He said he needs to train, he needs to rest or whatever. So
with his family,
we have no.
He says his daughter wants to see his daughter, see his family, so he's going to take a little break.
Exactly. So we have no clue when that fight's going to be taking place. But if you were to expect what the next fight would be, I would expect that. So Colby Covington most likely getting a shot at the title in the next event that they fight. And yeah, basically that puts a book on UFC 261. Kamaru Usman winning over Jorge Masvidal. As we move, Eric, to the NFL draft, which is quickly coming up, teams are going to be looking to find a franchise player to solidify their teams. Let's look at the NFL draft, Eric. Let's look at some picks that happened, some trades that went down, and look at who we think is most likely going to go to that team. We're not going to go through all 30 whatever there is teams in the league. We're just gonna look at some interesting ones I thought I would mention. You can bring up some that you want. But obviously first I'm gonna say the first 2 picks is gonna happen. Nothing's gonna change from that, so don't expect anything different. Jacksonville's gonna pick Trevor Lawrence, and the Jets are going to pick Zach Wilson. Anything after that, Eric, is totally up in the air.
For sure.
Totally up in the air. Okay. Because earlier a few weeks ago, the Dolphins and the 49ers and the Eagles are actually involved in a trade where it involved the Dolphins trading down because they already have their franchise quarterback in Tua, and so they don't need that third overall pick. So they actually traded, I believe, what was it? They had the third overall pick. They traded down to the 12th pick, right? And the 49ers, who had the 12th pick, traded up for the third overall pick. And then the Dolphins traded a 12th pick and a 2022 first rounder to the Eagles for the 6th overall pick. So Dolphins went from 3rd, 12 to 6. So the 49ers pushing, obviously, for a quarterback, Eric. I'm guessing their quarterback. I forget who their quarterback is. It's blanking in my mind. I know the name.
Oh, Garoppolo, yeah, Jimmy
Garoppolo,
Garoppolo.
yes. Obviously, they don't trust Garoppolo to be their starter next year, which surprised me. I thought he could be their guy. They brought it to the Super Bowl. I knew the 49ers is a team that heavily relies on defense, and I thought
For
that's
sure.
just going to be their game plan.
Hmm.
But nothing wrong with trying to get an offensive
Oh, for sure.
game plan with the quarterbacks available. And obviously, I think the number 3 guy has to be Justin Fields. Has
Oh
to be
yeah,
Justin
okay,
Fields.
okay,
I think at the 49ers, they did draft up. I think they have their eyes on Justin Fields. I think
okay.
Shanahan wants a guy like Justin Fields because the 4th overall pick, the Falcons. See, this is where it gets interesting with the Falcons, right? Because they have Matt Ryan as their QB, of course, which didn't work out last year. And so they could be inclined to take a QB,
Maybe.
or they stick it with Matt Ryan. Okay, they
Okay.
got Julio Jones if they don't trade him, and maybe they take a guy like Pitts, Kyle
Yeah,
Pitts,
Cal Pitts, big tight end. Yeah, for
big
sure.
tight end, and then
Yeah,
their offense not looking too bad actually.
exactly.
Matt Ryan, he has sure fallen off since his MVP season.
Mm,
But I don't think it's enough to totally give up on this guy. I mean, Matt
sure. Yeah.
Ryan's still a great QB in this league, and it depends what direction the Falcons want to go in. If they
Exactly.
want to get that young QB, or it has to be Pitts. If they're not taking QB, they're taking Pitts, and
Exactly.
that's what it is in my opinion. I know Jerry Jones was having visions of sweet plums or something, envisioning taking Kyle Pitts. He said with his
Oh,
pick, even though Dallas it needs incredible has incredible need for defense,
yeah.
especially the cornerback position. And last year people thought they were going to take a defensive player,
And they
but
took
they took
CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
So who knows what Jerry Jones is thinking? This is the guy's always a big question mark. But another interesting team at the 5th pick, my Bengals, Cincinnati Bengals.
Hmm.
They can either pick Penei Sewell or Chase. I follow a lot of Bengals Instagram accounts. People are torn. I'm telling you, this is not a confirmed pick. This is not a dead on pick.
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
the
really?
fan base is torn right now in between
Okay.
these two. I'd say it's leading Penei's way when it
Mhm.
comes to O linemen, but a lot of people want to see that reunite of LSU or was
Exactly.
it
LSU. LSU.
LSU
Yeah. Yeah.
of Joe Burrow and Chase at
Yeah.
wide receiver. So I don't know. What do I want as a Bengals fan? I want Penei.
Yeah.
I want an O lineman because the O line's so bad. It got Joe Burrow injured, and I want to see some security for his part. And of course, not only is an O lineman good for Joe Burrow, but it's also good for Joe Mixon, right?
Hmm.
So you get those gaps, those
You guys
holes,
still have
and
like T Higgins,
yeah, the wide
Jenkins. If
receiver
you.
core is still young.
Yeah.
Boyd, Higgins.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just think with Chase, I mean, it would be elite
For
level talent
sure.
and
Yeah.
elite wide receiving core, but they do need men in the front to protect
Hmm.
Joe Burrow. So that's why I think they should go with. But the fan base is torn. I will tell you that.
Okay.
And then Dolphins get next pick. They of course take Chase. I mean, this draft it's going to be interesting to
For
watch.
sure. For sure.
I mean, if you had any thoughts,
Oh, like yeah. While you're talking, so I was thinking about it. So I think at third is where the start drafts, right? It starts at
yes.
3, and which no one has any idea where San Francisco is going. You think it's Justin Fields? I've seen so many outlets saying it's Mac Jones. Other people think it's what's Trey Lance.
Yeah.
People don't know where it's going. So whoever San Francisco decided to trade up for is where the draft's going to start. So I believe I've done my research. I watched Pat McAfee. I watched
Mm-hmm.
Schefter. I watched a bunch of that. Everyone thinks I think they're drafting Trey Lance. I think they traded up for Trey Lance,
Really?
but I don't know if they traded that high just to get Trey Lance. You
That's what
know,
I'm saying.
so which is kind of. But would you trade that high to get Mac Jones? Not really either. Would
No.
you maybe Justin Fields? But that's tough because Justin Fields.
Mac Jones is not. You wouldn't trade up that high for a guy like
Yeah,
Mac
that's what I'm
Jones.
saying. But if you really see Mac Jones as your future, obviously you trade up for him, right? Because
Yeah.
this is a very stacked quarterback class, so you never know where.
But the 49ers are not taking Mac Jones. It's either going to be Justin Fields or Trey Lance. That's really how I see it.
If I had to pick, I'd say it's Trey Lance, but
Really?
it can,
Okay.
it can go either way. At 4,
Um.
yeah, for Falcons, I think they're taking Kyle Pitts. If they
Okay.
do go for a QB, they're gonna have to trade Julio Jones, everyone away, right? Because you're basically rebuild. If you draft a QB, you're rebuilding. Because
That's how I would see it.
yeah, Julio Jones he's like almost done his prime. Like you wouldn't like keep him around if
Yeah.
you like go Matt Ryan. There's no point of keeping Julio Jones. Just trade him to a contender or something, right? And then at 5, I think you guys are taking Penny Sewell
Yeah.
or Sewell, because to be honest, it's historically proven. O-line, you'd rather draft an O-line very high than a wide receiver.
People sleep on O-linemen, man.
Yeah,
People
O-linemen
sleep
are
on. It's
very
one of the
valuable.
most. Right guard is one of the most important positions in
Oh,
all of
100%.
football. In all of football.
Yeah. And I've seen Penny Sewell's a big boy. Like,
Oh yeah.
if you look at his stats, like this guy barely lets any side. Like, this guy is very good at his job. So I'm very. If you guys get Penny Sewell, that's a steal. I'm telling you, he's very good.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be a steal because we are giving up on a guy like Chase, who would definitely go to the Dolphins next.
Yeah,
that's who is that who you have for the Dolphins?
For the Dolphins, I don't even know, because Dolphins obviously they're not drafting a QB, right?
That's why I think they go wide receiver.
Yeah, but people were sleeping on Devontae Smith too, but
yeah, I have Devontae Smith going to the Giants.
Okay,
I have Devontae Smith. What pick what is that? Is that 1, 2, 3, 4?
They have 11th.
Yeah. I think Devontae Smith's going to go 11th, and then I think the Eagles with 12, who probably would want Devontae Smith, are going to have to go with Jalen Waddle.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going to have to pick the next wide receiver.
Devontae Smith, like obviously, like he's really good, but he won the Heisman. But look at this guy. This guy he's the same height as me.
Oh yeah, very small frame, and you're bigger.
Same height as me. I'm way more than him. How's that possible?
Like, he is definitely a smaller frame. Yes.
This guy's 6 foot 170. Like how's I don't understand how that works, but hey, he's been doing the cat. Like he clutched up. He's a very good player. Like he's proven himself. But what's a very interesting pick? Who do you think Pats are taking? Do you think they're trading up? Do you think they're staying at 15?
Yeah, the Pats are another interesting team. I've heard Belichick's interested in trading up for Fields. If he's really that serious about it, then he's probably going to have to give a trade offer like the 49ers had to give to the Dolphins. So is that their own pick, a third-round pick, a first-round, 2 first-rounders, I believe it was. So I don't know if Bill Belichick wants to pay that price. I know, he's spending a lot of money in offseason. He's traded first-rounders before. He's willing to do it because I think they could end up getting Mac Jones at 15. But it really depends on if Bill Belichick really wants to make a big move and get that guy. Like, that guy. Like a guy like Justin Fields. Because their QB depth is super slim right now. They have, what's his name? Cam Newton. And then the other guy, I forget. I feel like, yeah. But basically, their QB situation with Cam Newton last year wasn't that good. Couldn't throw the ball as much. And so I think Bill Belichick, as we know, with Tom Brady, he loves to throw the ball. And so a guy like Cam Newton, where he had to basically change the game book to adapt with the guy like Cam Newton to involve more running plays and stuff like that in the red zone especially.
But I think they want a QB. If you look at their team, why would you get so many receivers like Aguilar, like all these like Jonnu Smith and all? Why would you get these players just so you have Cam Newton as your QB? It doesn't really make that much sense.
They're gonna draft a QB for sure. The Patriots, there's no doubt about it. Just depends who that QB is. It going to be Mac Jones or is it going to be someone better? We don't know yet. Well, maybe that's a trade that happens draft day.
And let's be honest, we know one of these QBs are gonna bust 100%. Every year, if you have 5 QBs, one of them is gonna bust.
One of them is gonna bust.
Exactly. Like it's basically a guarantee. So we just don't know which one it is. And the thing is, we're talking about Zach Wilson at 1, like Zach Wilson at 2, and Trevor Lawrence at 1, but they could realistically bust too. Like that happened to Trubinsky. Like a bunch of players. Like if you're 1 or 2, doesn't mean that you're gonna be a franchise quarterback 100%, right? You can.
What was Sam Darnold was?
2. I forgot what.
No, he was.
But you also have like Rosen, like Jameis Winston, like all the there's a lot of like in the NFL, like a lot of players bust out.
I'm not saying that Sam Darnold's a bust, but I think it's the Jets environment situation. Fair. I think he's gonna play. He's most definitely gonna play better than he did in where did he get traded to now?
Oh, he's at Carolina. Right
Carolina, that's where it was. Oh. I think he'll have a better time in Carolina than the Jets. And poor Zach Wilson. Honestly, we have to be straight up here. Zach Wilson is going into a negative, toxic environment of the New York Jets, and so hopefully would have been interesting to see the Jets get the first overall pick and see what Trevor Lawrence
Yeah.
would have done. Does Trevor Lawrence still commit for one more year, or
That would have been
does he,
funny.
does he stay in Clemson, or does he go?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But very, very.
But luckily,
I'm excited
Jacksonville
for this
got it.
draft. I'm excited for this draft. And the thing is, usually it only takes like 2-3 years to see if a QB plays well or not. After 2 or 3 years, teams give up or
Oh
they keep
yeah,
that
because of the
QB.
salary cap
Oh, for sure.
situation. I
You've seen it with
mean,
Trubinsky, Dwayne Haskins got given up after 2 years. Like,
there's a whole argument about like you got Seattle, you got Russell Wilson who's making $40 million, and he's complaining about an O lineman or an O line that's weak, and obviously Seattle can't do anything with the cap and go get a guy like that. And so the question is, like, there's some people out there that believe that when you draft a QB, right, then you should already be looking into your next QB like 2 or 3 years after, one or 2 years after,
yeah,
right?
okay,
Because
wow.
people are saying that you should not be locking up these guys for millions of dollars, right?
But
And
it really
basically
depends.
most
It
of your
depends.
salary cap when you can't fill out other needs. So
But you're always gonna get like a
unless
Drew
you're
Brees.
Patrick Mahomes, I
Yeah,
think.
you're
I
gonna
think
get like a
Patrick Mahomes is,
Patrick Mahomes. You're gonna get a Drew Brees. You're gonna get a Tom Brady, Ben, like
but I think
for
Patrick Mahomes is the only safe case in the NFL. I think
right
everyone
now.
else
Yeah.
after that is expendable.
Okay,
Because it's
fair.
true. I mean, you're locking up a lot of money into these guys, and I'm not saying I agree with that view of drafting QBs in the first round, like a new QB after that when their contract expires,
Yeah.
until you find that right guy. But yeah, it's an interesting
Oh, for sure.
interesting debate.
The thing it's always like that in the NFL. It's always very
Yeah,
it's not
because
constantly.
a lot of money goes to these guys.
Oh, for sure.
So you got to get the right guy. But we'll see what happens there on draft day. Of course, you got teams like the Lions who are in it. Rashawn Slater can go there. Carolina, who could be looking at a cornerback, maybe Horn. The Broncos, the Broncos said they wanted to give Drew Lock some competition. Do they get a guy like Trey Lance they draft? Like potentially. Cowboys, if the Falcons don't pick Pitts, maybe he drops to the Cowboys. I don't know, but the Cowboys should be going out and getting a cornerback. Jerry Jones should, for a minute, relax on the offense. You got Dak, who's been throwing 400 yards, whatever, last year. He'll be good. CeeDee Lamb, get a cornerback.
Yeah.
Get a defensive player, please.
For sure.
Giants, Devontae Smith. Eagles, I think Jalen Waddle. And then after that, I think it's Mac Jones to the Patriots. Cardinals, probably a cornerback too. Raiders defense. Dolphins have another pick. And then you got the bottom guys. But yeah, I think those are some definitive picks right there. But then again, like we said, after 2, it could be up in the air. There could be a lot of surprises. Let's move on, Eric, from the NFL, and let's go to soccer, a sport we don't cover as much here.
Yeah, not at all.
Of course, because I really don't follow soccer. You seem to like it, though.
Oh,
So let's talk about the Super League, Eric. The Super League, a Premier League. Why don't you tell the people, for those who don't follow soccer like me, what the Super League was or is and was?
Exactly. So the Super League, what it was, it's so what happens in in Europe. So for soccer, well, I'll call it soccer, right? But they want to call it football. So for soccer, how it works is if you win, you can win the title or whatever. But if you lose, you can get relegated to a lower league. So there's a bunch of different leagues. There's like the French league, the Premier League, which is the English league, and there's a Spanish league, all of that, right? So if you lose, you can get relegated to the lower league, and if you win, you can get
Promoted.
Put up to promoted, exactly. So what these teams want to do is all the rich teams, so all the teams with the most money, so the best teams basically.
So let's say those best teams, if any: Manchester,
Exactly,
Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham. Tottenham, basically those teams from the Premier League.
Yeah, from the Premier League. So they want to join like Barca, Real Madrid, Juventus, and all these other big teams, and make a team of 12, I believe it was. And
I think
just play between them, no relegation, and they for forever. They want to do that, basically like in the NBA, right? So there's like 30 teams in the NBA. No one can ever leave, right? So that's what they wanted to do. But that's not what soccer. soccer is the most global sport you'll find. There's always uh teams like going up and down. I don't know if you ever heard about Leicester City. They won the Premier League. They're an underdog team. They're supposed to get relegated one year. They won the Premier League. Like there's soccer is literally like I wouldn't say a poor man's sport, but like it's a sport like
Yeah,
it's like one of those sports.
of course.
It's not made like people dedicate their livelihood to soccer. It's not a sport where money should get involved. People really don't like that. It's literally just it's like their life. So
Yes, but money does clearly get involved.
exactly, money does get involved. And what happened was most of those big teams are owned by I want to say Americans. So
Yeah.
they're owned by Americans, and Americans obviously they want to make some money, right? They have
Everyone
investors.
wants to make money.
Everyone wants to make money. So what they did was, if you join that league, you're never getting relegated. You're always playing the top teams. You're always going to make money. You don't have to give any of your cut to the lower teams. So you're good. But what does that do for the other teams in the Premier League?
Oh yeah,
or they'll lose
viewership,
money.
fans.
Yeah, they lose everything, and it just kind of ruins the sport,
Of
right? 'Cause
course.
you already have the Champions League, which is a very amazing tournament, and they won't be able to participate. A bunch of them won't be able to participate in World Cup. So it's just going to kind of ruin everything else other than the Super League. So a lot of people were trying to like I'd say 95% of people were against the Super League.
Oh yeah.
And because of that, they decided to stop it.
A lot of people dropped out. Teams dropped out.
Exactly.
Yeah. So basically, if you look at it through the perspective of these not poor teams, but obviously not these elite teams,
Exactly, yeah.
clearly they lose a lot of money and TV deals basically if they're not playing these elite teams, of course, right? We saw it before happen with the Project Big Picture when COVID was happening, and so now teams in the Premier League, the teams that I didn't mention. Manchester, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham.
Yeah.
They're basically asking all the owners and CEOs of those teams to step down of their current positions because they feel that there was now that there is a lack of trust and to be able to do negotiations and stuff like that. And obviously, I don't think these people are overreacting because I believe it was pretty obnoxious of some of these teams to decide to do a Super League.
Exactly.
Because, as you said, it's big money scheme and you leave out basically other teams. But that's not what soccer is, right?
Exactly.
And,
you could do that.
You're
with
killing
basketball.
fan bases.
Yeah, you can do that with basketball because it's obviously like most of the population that likes to watch basketball. Everyone's in America, right? Most of the people are in the United States.
And then, of course, you have your
can do
other your fans in other countries and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. But most
their main hub is in the North America.
But I'm telling you, you cannot do that in Europe. Everyone's saying like it's just a different sport. You just there's so many people around it. You can't just hold it to 12 teams. Like it's just not possible because there's so many leagues. So you know there's so, like hundreds, like even I'd say 1,000 like professional teams. There's like probably like hundreds of thousands of professional teams, people that make living off playing soccer. So you can't just cut that off and let the big clubs get rich, right?
Yeah.
Because that's not what football is about.
Yeah, it's basically a pyramid scheme, right? The top teams help the bottom teams. Basically, that's how it is. And if you cut that out, then there's going to be a lot of trouble with those other teams and their fan bases and
especially with
cetera.
COVID.
Oh yeah,
a lot of teams were struggling already, and then you're just like, okay, we're giving up on you. It just that's not how it works.
That's not happening. And so luckily that Super League idea folded. Hopefully it doesn't come back. I have a feeling it might resurface. So hopefully they cut it off at the legs. We'll see though. As we move, Eric, from soccer to the NBA, we were talking a little about the NBA there. As we said, Eric, we did the trade deadline, the NBA playoffs. Everyone knows they're coming. They're looming. It's gonna happen. We talked about some contenders last time we talked about the NBA. Let's look at, of course, some dark horse teams that aren't doing the best that they possibly could, but people know what kind of team they are. They know that they can do some damage in the playoffs. Of course, the term dark horse. Let's look at some of those teams, Eric. I have a short list here. You probably have a short list. And what I did, not only did I look at the standings, Eric, of the NBA standings, I also looked at the odds and everything to win an NBA championship, the 2021 odds of winning a championship. And I picked some of these teams just based on the odds and their favors. and I said, hey, look, I'd put some money down on that if I could.
Mm-hmm.
And that top of my list right there is the Miami Heat, Eric. They pop as number one on my list. The Miami Heat are a 7th seed in the East. As we know, let's get one thing straight. The East is much weaker uh, than the West, I would say, this year. Of course, you got the Brooklyn Nets killing it in the East, but they're that real threat. But the Heat are 7th right now, so they're not looking too good in the regular season. But, of course, they picked up Victor Oladipo. But listen, this is the best part. They have a plus 2,500 chance of winning the NBA title.
Yeah.
Plus 2,500.
Yeah.
The Miami Heat are plus 2,500. That's definitely a team I could see people betting on to make some damage. The Heat were in the finals last year against LeBron James and Anthony Davis, okay?
And they might have even gotten better.
And better. It's the same team, and they picked up Victor Oladipo, right?
Exactly.
So I'm saying the Heat, they're 7th seed. They're facing who this? They would be facing what? The 76ers? So definitely a team I could see the Heat winning against.
Exactly.
And that's why I have them number one. But even better are the Denver Nuggets in the West, Eric. They're at 4th seed, but getting disrespected because they have a plus 3,000 chance of winning the title. So obviously 4th seed, but people are overlooking the Denver Nuggets. Eric, why shouldn't the Denver Nuggets get overlooked? Why are they a dark horse?
Okay, so for the first reason well, obviously they made it to the Western Conference Final last year. They showed that they're a team that can come back from 3-1 twice. Obviously against my Utah, we were at that very sad moment.
Of course. But Jamal Murray, of course.
Yeah, Jamal Murray. But
out.
The thing is, Jamal Murray is out right now. So
yes.
That's why the odds are they went down. So
plus 3,000 though.
Yeah, exactly. But Jokic, they have Aaron Gordon. People forget that. And just Jokic, he's an MVP.
Oh, yeah.
And they have Aaron Gordon. Like Mike Malone's a great coach. They can make some noise for sure. They're here as a 4th seed. Obviously, right now, they don't have a good matchup because they're going to have to face the Lakers right now. But that's probably going to change up when LeBron's going to come back. But I'm telling you right now, if they have to face LeBron in the first round, they're probably going to be eliminated.
Probably, most likely.
If they get the right matchups and
hopefully, maybe, who knows, the Lakers are out, you never know. But they're at a plus 3,000, obviously, because Jamal Murray's out for the season. But, I like Jokic. Like you said, I like Aaron Gordon. And so I feel like that's still a competitive team in the playoffs, especially Jokic playing the way he's playing this season at an MVP caliber level. So I have them too. I also have the Dallas Mavericks, Eric, 6th seed plus 5,000 odds to win the NBA title. Luka Doncic, obviously a superstar in this league, probably the face of the NBA in the near future.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
But of course, there's Kristaps Porzingis, who is injury prone, always getting injured. He's out right now with an ankle. But when those two are healthy, Eric, they can do some damage on the court. Probably maybe the best front court because they're both forwards. Right? So right now they're 6 seeds. They'll be projected to be playing the Clippers if the playoffs were to start. Obviously, they lost to the Clippers in 6 last year.
It was a close game.
But as we know, if playoff P shows up, Eric, we know that the Dallas Mavericks could have a chance if playoff P shows up. Because playoff P isn't very good when it comes. But Paul George having a great season nonetheless. You can't diss that. But he does have his struggles in the playoffs, so we'll see. The Dallas Mavericks, I like Rick Carlisle. How do you say his name? Rick Carlisle. There's like an S and an ILE. It's
Rick Carlisle. Yeah.
It sounds like there's a W in there. Rick Carlisle.
Lyle.
Rick Carlisle.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jim Carrey. Yeah. Basically, Jim Carrey. Why are we even debating? I like the coaching staff. I like the team, but they are facing the Clippers, so I don't know. But they are a plus 5,000, so put that in mind too. Exactly. You could put a small bet, have a nice payout at the end of the day. Oh, for the last one, Eric, you might actually laugh at this one. I kind of laughed too. I giggled when I wrote it down.
Okay, I want to hear this.
I think you might know it though.
Okay.
But for those who don't, I put the New York Knicks as a plus 25,000.
5,000.
25,000 plus 25,000 chance.
25,000.
Yeah, obviously that's
Wait, what? I didn't know that was that high though. So if you put like $1 on them.
4th seed in the East right now. Obviously the East, like we said, very weak. Yeah. They're 4th seed. Who's 5th? Are you able to tell me?
Yeah. So I believe right now. Oh, it's the Hawks. Hawks.
So they can beat the Hawks. So they can beat the Hawks.
They can beat the Hawks.
The Knicks, Julius Randle playing absolutely insane right now. Their coach Thibodeau. Thibodeau,
Tom Thibodeau.
Tom
Tom
Thibodeau.
Thibodeau. Yeah.
Tom Thibodeau. What's that remind me of? Thibodeau. I don't know. Okay.
Just
Anyway,
go on. Yeah. Move
doing a pretty good job with the Knicks. Eric, there's
100%.
been a change of scenery in New
Oh,
York
yeah.
right now. And years of sucking by the Knicks, and now they're actually going to make the playoffs, Eric, and they're projected to face the Hawks. And how crazy would New York be if the New York Knicks somehow end up making the second round? You know,
Oh my
that
God.
city would go nuts.
No,
Not
it's
even
just great
winning
for
a
basketball.
title.
Yeah, whenever
Not even,
New York is doing well, it's great for basketball.
not even
It's
win a
great for
title. If they
yeah.
can make the second round, that city
yeah.
will go nuts. Okay,
Exactly.
just because of the struggles of the Knicks recent years, they've been god awful. But Julius Randle and the coaches having the team now, RJ Barrett, they're trying to get it
RJ
going.
Barrett, yeah.
So they have a plus 25,000 chance of winning, and they're a fourth seed. They're facing the Hawks first round. You know, and if they can make it out of that first round, who's left in the second round? You know, good teams are going to get knocked off, right?
Yeah,
Good teams are
yeah.
going to get knocked off, unfortunately. And so maybe they could be left, you know, with an team that upsetted. Who knows,
Maybe.
right? So we'll see. But that's my short list.
Okay.
I kind of looked at the teams. I looked at the betting odds, and I found these ones were like, whoa.
No. Yeah. Jumped out of
You know, because then you got the Lakers, the Nets, where it's like the odds are, you know, trash.
Yeah.
Very low, and I was like, you can't make money off of that. But if you want to make money, if you really, really want to make money and you're serious about putting a bet, I would say look at the Miami Heat. Take a look at the Miami Heat, please.
100%. Yes.
That is a team that's going to do some damage.
Exactly. But for me, it's the playing rounds makes this so interesting.
Oh, yes.
The playing rounds. I love
yeah.
the play. I love
totally
the playing
forgot
rounds
about
because
them.
you can have like a 10 seed, like the Raptors.
Oh,
and
yeah.
If they start playing really well in the playing rounds, they can have a chance. But obviously,
What are the playing rounds anyway? It's the
so
10th and
10th
eighth,
to
10th to
7th to 10th. So
7th
it's 4
to 10th.
teams. So it's 4 teams in the playing rounds, and then I believe I forgot how it works, but basically you get knocked off, and then only.
Oh yeah, it's like a best of 3 or something, I think,
Yeah,
or something
exactly,
like that. I don't like the idea,
No? Okay.
because you lose 2 in a row, you're out, unfortunately. So, you know, it's kind of like I don't like that.
Okay.
Right. I in the bubble when it was the best of 5, I was like, okay, 3, but
No. So how it worked in the bubble was, if you it was a little
this is a
different.
play on.
before.
Yeah, the bubble was to play, you know, Montreal face Pittsburgh to be into the playoffs, right?
Oh, okay. You're talking about.
I'm talking about
yeah.
NHL, but NBA.
Yeah.
This is what it's basically going to be. That basically they're going to
Yeah.
fight in a mini series to be into the 16-team playoffs, and that's why in the bubble, as I was saying, the NHL bubble, when it was the best of 5, I was like, okay, whatever. It's going to cheese some teams. I think Pittsburgh felt like they got cheesed because of Carey Price, how he played, and so I feel there's going to be like you have Luka Doncic, Mark Cuban defending his own players, saying that this is a bad idea for the NBA.
But the thing is, this one's a little different because for Pittsburgh, they didn't know they were gonna have to play in a plane run. These teams knew ahead of time.
Whoa. Let's make sure one thing. The NHL was off for 2 months when COVID hit, right? And I believe the play-in round. No, I mean, remember when the season ended before they went to back playing? It was like 2 months or something.
No. I'm saying they like
Pittsburgh. There was a good amount of time when Pittsburgh knew they were going to face Montreal. Like they knew Carey Price was.
No, I know this. No, what I was saying was Pittsburgh wasn't playing really well in the regular season to not be in the playing round. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, yeah.
So these teams, if you're a 6 seed, you want to play really well to not be. You don't want to be in the playing round, and it's good for these. It's really, if you think about it, this is really good for tanking, right? If you're 11, 12 seed, you're like, oh my god, I don't want to tank. I want to maybe make it in the playing round.
Yeah.
And it's good. Whenever your team can make it to like a tournament game, is always good for business. It's good. It's just a good vibe, you know. So that's always good. But if I'm gonna start with my dark horses now. I don't know. Okay, I think you wanted to say something. So
I just think like, you know, you said it stops tanking, whatever. I just think when it has a team's whole fan base, whatever, the organization is on the line in a mini series, and you're playing a whole season, not a whole season, but a 50 whatever condensed schedule game, and then you're out in whatever 2 games or something like that. I would understand why players and teams are like, no, this is a bad idea. Fair. But anyway, the dark horses.
Yeah. So my dark horses, I have a very similar one. I'm not gonna like in Miami. Obviously, I have the same one. But for the East, I'm gonna go with the Wizards. I'm telling you. I think they're on an 8-game win streak right now.
Okay.
Like they have Bradley Beal. They have obviously Russell Westbrook. So just those two, that's one of the best backcourts in the league if you think about it. Like that's a very good team. So I don't know if you have their odds, but definitely
I did not. I
yeah,
could
but
check it there.
no, but yeah, but definitely because they're in the 10th seed right now. So if they play in the playing rounds, they can maybe make a push. But obviously, I don't believe they're gonna
The
win.
Washington Wizards.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me count my zeros here, Eric.
Okay, there you go.
They have a plus 100,000 chance. So they have basically 1,000 to 1 chance.
My God.
1,000 to 1.
Put $1 on that, bro. Put $1 on that. Like obviously, I don't think they're gonna win, but just watch out for them. I believe they can make a push. Another dark horse. I'm just gonna go over them. Celtics quickly. I think they can. They're the 6th seed right now. I think they have a chance. They have a really good team. Very well built. Brad Stevens, very good coach.
I think that's why I didn't put them as a dark horse, the Celtics, because I still think everyone knows they're a dangerous team, even though
exactly.
they're 6.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But in the West, you know what team that always goes far in the playoffs and always very dangerous? Portland Trailblazers.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say Utah for a second.
No, obviously Utah. We're the number one team.
The number one team.
We're definitely not a dark horse. Let's not talk about.
Let's not talk about Utah. No, let's not talk about their playoffs. You know, all right. But Portland, of course, yes, as always.
Yeah, they made it to the Western Conference.
I mean, as always, yeah. Dame,
CJ, and they have Norman Powell.
Norman Powell was playing good.
Did you hear about what they did for Norman Powell when he came?
No.
They got him a mansion. Apparently, they got him a mansion. They got him they asked him what his favorite color was, a bunch of things, and they put that in the mansion.
Yeah, they want to re-sign this guy.
Oh, they really want him.
They want to re-sign him.
People were saying if he doesn't re-sign, that means Portland will never be able. If they can't re-sign Norman Powell by spoiling him,
oh my God, yeah,
they'll never
keep anyone.
Exactly. So that's what they're talking about.
Unless, of course, Dame, who's very loyal and committed to this franchise.
Exactly. But they also have Yusuf Nurkic. Like their team is really good.
Yeah.
And they always make a push in the playoffs. I'm telling you, playoff Dame is real. Dame is probably one of the clutchest players in the league for sure. Another team in the West. I'm just gonna throw out 2 names out here.
Real quick, Eric. Portland's odds 50 to 1. So not as plus 5,000 though, 50 to 1 odds.
Exactly. Another dark horse. The Golden State Warriors, man.
That's what I was thinking too. I was gonna put them in too.
Like right now, they're a 10 seed. If they go in the playing round and they start playing well, they got
Steph Curry.
Exactly. Draymond, Kelly Oubre, Andrew Wiggins, James Wiseman, kind of bummy.
Well, as we know, Kelly Oubre not having the best season.
Not having the best season. But people underrate Andrew Wiggins. This guy is very good defensively. Obviously he's not that number 1 overall pick. Like he didn't tap into his potential, but he's a very good player. He'll give you like 17, 18 a night. Play very good defense now, so you can't really complain there.
Golden State has a 150 to 1 chance, so plus 15,000.
Okay. And last one I'm going to throw out there is the Memphis Grizzlies.
Ooh.
They have Jaren Jackson Jr. back. Their team is so nice. I'm telling you, they have John Morant, Dylan Brooks, Jonas Valanciunas. I'm telling you, their team is disgusting.
Oh yeah, well, if you think their team's disgusting, Eric, you're not gonna like who they're gonna have to face in the first round is the Utah Jazz, Eric.
Yeah, I know.
You're. Okay, so wait a second. What are you telling the fans, Eric?
No, I'm just
you're gonna tell them to bet so they can lose to your team?
No. Exactly. Obviously, Utah is winning the championship this year. So it's don't worry about that.
So wait, hold on. Let me understand something. This 7 to whatever is a play-in round. So
yeah.
Wow. So it's not even 1 to 8's locked. It's not even like
no. It's 1 to 6 locked.
Yeah, 1 to 6 is locked. Yeah. So
7 to 10.
Wow. So we don't even know if Utah is going to face them.
Exactly.
They got to face the player now.
Exactly. Yeah. Hey, but
I mean that's insane. You can go from potentially playing Memphis to having to play Steph Curry in the first round.
The thing with that is with like the 8th and 9th seed. Usually, what happens is it's always like 1 or 2 games off, right? So the 8th seed might have 1 more win. But if you look at their schedule, that's one of the schedules might be a bunch of easy teams or hard teams.
Oh yeah.
So a good way is if you're really close to making the playoffs and the other just to see who's better. I feel like the playing around. Obviously, it doesn't do too much harm, but obviously you believe otherwise. You believe that.
I just think teams should get a chance. Every team deserves a chance. And if you lose 2 games, that's it. That's all you're gonna get.
Okay, but that's the playoffs. The playoffs, you lose.
Yeah, but at least have a best of 7 series.
Fair. fair.
So that way you have a chance.
But you can't. Back in the day, the playoffs for the first, I believe, 2 rounds, it was best of 5. So
Yeah. But especially in a sport like basketball, where usually it's like when my 5's better than your 5, it's over.
Exactly.
As we saw with Golden State back in their dominant years.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what I mean. Like in the NHL, like, anything could happen. It's hockey, right? Anything could happen in hockey. You don't know. You can't. It's so hard to bet on hockey. But basketball, usually, it's 5. My 5's better than your 5, and so we're gonna win. And so that's why I think a lot of players are like, okay, well, this team's better than us, and they have better players, and we're just gonna lose in a few games. Like they're gonna have to come out hard, some of these teams, and really like play for their lives, because that's what it's gonna be.
Like if you think about it, like the NCAA March Madness, this is a tournament.
Yeah, well, football too. Yeah, same thing. One game, you're out.
Yeah, you never know what happens. Like that's what they're trying to bring to basketball, because you don't want it to be too like basketball. Usually, it's like it's kind of you already know who's gonna win, and
but think about this. Think about the good teams. Like think about the not the good teams, I'd say, but like Portland, man, 7th seed. Imagine them getting knocked down in the playing round, like by a team like the Spurs or something, or Memphis, or I mean, Golden State's gonna be a tough match. Whoever has to face Golden State's gonna be a tough matchup, right? I feel sorry for them, but yeah, I just feel unlucky for some of these teams.
Yeah. But it's good for business. I'm gonna watch it's like the wild card game for baseball, right?
Yeah,
it's pretty similar. People like it's interesting. It's like one game, like you're gonna watch it. It's gonna be mad hype, and you don't know what the outcome is. So I just feel like it brings something to the game, kind of like what football brings to the game. Where the reason why people like watch more football than basketball is because football is one game. All you have to do is show up to that one game. Basketball, you don't
I think people watch football because some people are psychopaths and they live for hits and big hits and stuff. They live for violence. So, I mean, you see guys go out there and hit each other. I mean, everyone's gonna watch it once a week too, especially.
So you think if the NBA Finals was one game, it wouldn't do the same? Would you think it would do close to the numbers that NFL?
I mean, yeah, it'd be insane numbers, but like that would be this. The NBA would never do that. One game in the NBA Finals, so you know how much money you'd lose?
I know. But I'm just saying, if you did do one game.
If it was hypothetically was one game, hypothetically speaking, I probably would have already accepted that because maybe it was like it had already happened or something last year or something like that. But if the NBA somehow next year was like, yeah, we're doing one game for the NBA Finals, people are gonna be like, what the heck? That's the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying.
But obviously, that's why at March Madness, people are accustomed to that one game, right? It's been going on for years. Teams know they have to prepare themselves for that one game. But then you just throw this playing tournament at teams, and you're like, oh wow, that wasn't their mindset at the beginning of the season,
But you don't want to be in those 7 to 10 seeds.
I know that's true too. Don't put yourself in that situation. That's also true.
But it's also nice if you're a 9 or 10 seed. You're like, okay, so now I have a chance at least.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Yeah, there's always gonna be both ways to look at it. Exactly. Obviously, people are gonna be pissed. Some people are gonna be, of course, people are gonna be happy about it because it gives them a chance. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not a fan. I'll say that.
Okay. Fair.
But doesn't matter if I'm a fan or not. All right, because it's gonna happen. With the NBA playoffs soon happening. And Eric, that's going to do it for another episode of the Chtib Zhang show. We covered UFC 261, talked about the NFL draft, Super League, and we did some NBA Darkhorses. We'll be back next Wednesday for another episode of the Chtib Zhang show. Once again, thank you for watching. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify, and we'll see you in the next episode. Peace.